As you did 4.5 years ago? I'm not sure. Now imagine how much our solar system has changed. Over 4.5 billion years. So how can we know about it? What was our solar system like all those years ago? Find out more about the real world. One of the ways we can learn about the history of our solar system is by studying comets. You've probably heard of some comets too. Do the names Halley, Shoemaker-Levy, or Hartley 2 ring a bell? Well, there are thousands more. Where they came from. So what is a comet? Let me do the Dr. Paul Chodas, a research scientist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory,
A comet is
explains.
a small icy body. It has a lot of dirt in it. And other things in it. But it has frozen ice. Mostly water ice, but there may be other ices. There are. So the ice is very cold, of course, and when the comet gets closer to the sun, the ice gets hot, and it starts to boil, and as it boils, it creates streams of gases, and what these tails are like. They've been in a kind of deep freeze. There's a lot of them. Well beyond Pluto. They've been out. And they're slowly coming in the inner solar system, and these objects contain not just minerals of the early solar system, they contain actual ice of the early solar system. So if we study comets, we can learn about all the materials that were there when the solar system was formed.
Cold, that's why comets are formed of frozen gases, ice, dust, and rock. When a comet is far from the sun, everything remains frozen. As it gets closer to the sun, it heats up, forming a coma. As it gets even closer to the sun's rays push some of the coma away from the comet, forming a tail. So if comets can be as far away in our solar system as beyond Pluto, or close enough to see with the naked eye here on Earth, how do we know how far away is a comet? Whenever you look at a distant object, you see the object angular size, not its actual physical size. For example, the moon is not really the size of a quarter. It just seems that way because of its distance from the Earth. Angular size is a measurement of an angle formed by the extension of two imaginary lines out of our eyes. Of the purpose of extending, there is a simple formula. It relates the actual size and distance of an object to its apparent angular size, the tangent of theta divided by 2. D is equal to dividing by 2r, where d is the diameter of the object in kilometers, and r is the distance of the object from the observer in kilometers. Record scratch. Not ready for this kind of math yet? That's fine. But to understand scale ratios, you can use a millimeter ruler and a picture of a comet to establish a ratio and determine how big it is. So why should we care about what a comet is, how big it is, how it moves, or even how far away it is? Well, comets can tell us a lot about our early solar system.
The main reason to study comets is to learn about the conditions of the formation of the solar system. What are the materials that made up the solar system? What did it look like originally? We can't see the planets, like Earth, because it's undergone a lot of processing, heating and cooling, all sorts of things. All planets have been processed a lot. If we take a look at a comet, we can see the original materials from which the solar system formed.
And we've taken a look at a comet with some really cool spacecraft. But how does one, like you or me, go about getting involved in this cool thing? Associate Administrator for the Science Mission Directorate, Dryby DeWeller, has the answer. I have a message for any school kids out there who might be wondering, how can NASA send a spacecraft billion miles through the solar system and somehow wind up flying very close to a tiny comet, just a few kilometers in diameter? It's done with math. So a comet is basically like that. A really old time capsule, and as we learn about what's inside this time capsule, or comet, we can start to answer questions like, where did we come from? And, how did we get here? I don't know about you, but I wouldn't mind finding these answers before next 4.5 billion years pass. See you next time on The Real World.